I want you to meet Shane. Just 2 years ago, Shane was a bartender and had a dream to make a ton of money. And so he started dropshipping. Fast forward 2 years. This month alone, he's on track to do $1.2 million in revenue, profiting around $300,000 to $400,000.
It's like 400K last year as a whole. I'll do probably close to like 1.2 million this month.
This entire video is meant to dive deep into his success and learn from it, so that way you, even if you're working a basic job, you can learn from exactly how he was able to go from, again, basic job to making a shit ton of money this month alone. And this year, you'll probably make a few million bucks. Let's dive into his journey and discover the 4 simple rules that he followed to end up achieving this phenomenal success in just 2 short years. Not only that, he'll also go over his product research methods, exactly what dropshipping apps he uses on every single store, the power of TikTok and Facebook advertising, and last but not least, exactly how he would start from scratch if he only had $1,000 to his name right now and wanted to get rich. With that said, I want you guys to meet Shane.
So I used to work in a restaurant. That was my first like good job. The first 6 months of me doing this, all of that money was going back into ecom, learning how to do it, testing products, testing creatives, testing new stores, testing everything. The only way you're able to lose is if you quit. So if you just show up every single week, you put the work in, you put the hours in, and you really just dial in everything that needs to be dialed in, you're gonna make it work eventually. At that point, I told myself it's really either sink or swim.
This is his first rule, and honestly, if he failed to do this first rule, I don't think he would have been successful. And it is having a job or something to cash flow, so that way he can literally throw all his money at a business until something works. Shane explains exactly why this is a game changer, and it's funny because a lot of other students I've seen that we train have had a job and have just cash flowed that and thrown it into dropshipping. So I'll let him talk a little bit about exactly why having some sort of job or hustle is a literal life hack for starting any business, not only dropshipping.
I highly encourage anybody just starting out that doesn't have any money, find a way to get some sort of capital, whether it's, work a 9 to 5. I always like the restaurant industry because you get tips. So, you're making more than the minimum wage. It makes it so much easier to be able to throw that back into ecom because you could test more. You have more of a cushion. So even if you find a winner and you have a little bit of money to kind of scale that product up. If you don't have a job, find some way to make money, whether it's getting a job, whether it's doing something online, maybe offering some sort of service, or if you don't have any skills, definitely highly recommend getting a job.
So that was the first one. The second rule for his success, if he skipped this one, I am pretty confident he probably wouldn't be successful right now. And it was getting a mentor.
Having Tim as a mentor really helps because if I didn't do that, I don't know where I would be. I don't know if I would be here or, way farther back. I don't know if I would have given up. Maybe I would have given up if I didn't have this information I have now, and just seeing the success of everybody in the group that I'm in.
Every single successful journey has some moments of doubt. Shane shares how having a mentor not only helps with moments of doubt, but also it helps you skip the line for what you need to know. He explains how it's essentially a fast pass for anything you want to achieve and accomplish. Specifically with dropshipping, he explained why having us mentor him changed the absolute game for him, and this is why this is rule 2, but I'll let him talk a little bit about mentors.
A mentor, which was you guys, and it helped me immensely fast track everything. So highly recommend getting a mentor if you have the money. If not, go out, get the money to do so, because if you look at it from a long enough time period and you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to lose just as much money trying to test products and figure it out yourself than you would getting a mentor. So I think you would just lose more money in the long term trying to do everything yourself. And just not have an ego about it, really. Just don't be afraid to ask for help, because even the biggest guys in the space are asking for help from somebody. It's not really out of the ordinary for help, and it's a really big game changer. Just ask for help, dude. It's really all you gotta do.
Having a mentor is extremely important, which is why if you would like myself and my team to mentor you, I'll have a link below and you can get more information on exactly how you can work with me. As you guys can see, having a mentor changes the game. And Shane, I'm gonna be honest, if he didn't have us, I don't know if he'd be where he's at. Like, we're running his ads because he's one of our students, and he will do over $1 million this month. He's already done crazy amounts of numbers this month with dropshipping. And so if you guys want us to train you on dropshipping and show you exactly how it's done and help you along the way, I will have a link where you guys can apply to potentially get trained by us. We don't take everyone on, but just wanted to put this in here because a lot of people are now going to ask if I can be your mentor. So if you want more information on how we can train you on dropshipping, again, I'll have a link below, but let's keep going with the video. With that said, that was rule number 2. Let's get into the third one and go through exactly why mental fortitude and toughness is one of the main rules that Shane talks about a lot inside in this video. He mentions exactly why having bad days is actually a good thing and why it helps you enjoy the good days. And if you don't have bad days, you can't really be excited when stuff is going well, especially with the world of dropshipping when there are always things and problems that could go very wrong.
I have to, think I can do this eventually, but it's just, you have to keep getting shit on for like a year at least. I mean, 6 months to a year, you have to get, it's not going to be easy. You're going to go through periods of doubt. It's like a roller coaster. Like you're going to be like, oh, this is awesome. You're going to see a little bit of success. And then you're going to go through, you're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And you have to go through those down periods to be able to really enjoy the up periods and learn from everything. Because now, once you have those down periods, you have all those reference points to look back on. You're doing product research for hours. You might not see any return from that right away, but then a year down the road, you have all these reference points in your mind to go back and understand why certain products work, what the customer avatar is looking for inside of a video, inside of the offer, and be able to use that going forward. Even though you didn't see any success right away and you're like, this is kind of stupid, you have to be able to have that long-term vision, be able to go on and then implement all those things that you learned in the past into the future, and just really focus on growing the amount and just reinvesting back into your knowledge, because what you know and who you know is going to be super, super important. And just who you are as a person is going to be probably the most important thing out of everything. It's just who you are as a person. Like, are you going to give up easily? Are you going to throw in the towel right when shit doesn't go your way? Or are you going to stick through it after a year of getting absolutely shit on, So you have to kind of figure out who you want to be and just what kind of life you want. You have to really have a goal and a target that you want to hit to be able to go out.
Now, this last rule is something we even do ourselves, so it was kind of funny that he mentioned this, but it is dialing in and focusing way more than anyone else on creatives. Shane goes over exactly why he was able to do $121,000 from May 3rd to May 5th, and one of the main things was just optimizing his creatives way better and way more efficiently than all of his competition, allowing him to make even more money than anyone else. So I'll let Shane talk a lot about ad optimization and why this is so important with his business.
If you can create an ad so good that if while they're watching it, they get a call from somebody important, will they hit decline to keep watching your ad? Like, is your ad that good? So I think having a mental image of what a good creative looks like and then going on to replicate that is super important. So just do a lot of research with creatives, and then just, I don't know, I think being creative yourself is super important. So just kind of blocking out the noise and sitting down and doing a task, and maybe you make creatives for an hour, you come back and then you reiterate them again, and maybe you take another hour break and then we're like, oh, maybe I should change this and that. Just being very creative with the knowledge you already have. So when you have like a ton of reference points for maybe going through the Amazon reviews on some of the products that you want to sell and seeing the touch points that people really want to see, and then just putting that into your creative is super important. And then also having really, really catchy hooks is a good one too.
That was his 4 rules for success. Now, finding a product is something he talks highly about, and it took him 15 to 25 products before he ever found success. So I want to let Shane cover exactly how he currently finds his winning product and what he does differently that a lot of people honestly don't do.
I'd say about 15 to 20. That was probably be my first like big success. I knew that right away. So about 2 months after I like first started, it was 3 months. So right after August going into December was like my first like quote unquote winner. It wasn't anything huge. I did like 20K in like 3 weeks maybe. It wasn't anything big at all, but it was like a proof of concept for me. So from there, a lot of like a dry period of like after that first 20, it was like I found that one and it was a huge dry period. And then I just, you go back to work and you keep doing the same thing. So you take all that money that you got from work and you keep reinvesting it for months and months. And then that summer after Christmas, that was when I found my first winner. We did like, it was like 70K 1 month, and then after that it was like 100 or 90K, and then after that it was like back to back 130K months. But within those 3 months it was back to back winners. So it was a winner, and then I tested 2 more products and one of them absolutely crushed it, did like 300 to 400K rev within like 2 months. I think that you just get better at it with time. Like your win rate's going to go up as you keep doing product research, and as you keep looking at ads, and as you keep just keeping up with the trends. I like to stay on the platforms that I advertise on. So really look at how other people are running ads and then get creative with it. So I know a lot of people like to, I mean, ripping content is just a big thing. But when you're first starting out and you're just like ripping content, it's like you have to learn very fast of what's going to work and then go on to test that for 5, 10, 15 more products with the same framework that you found your first winner with. So just going on to be able to test so many more products. And I think my win rate is a lot higher than my loss rate now. It's like, it's once you get it down to a science, it's like you could replicate it over and over and over. That's really where you want to be. Because when I first started and you first see your success a little bit and then it dies out and you don't know why your product dies out, you don't know why your ads die out, and you're like, shit, what do I do now? Are you going to be able to replicate that? Like, can you do it 10 more times over and over and over? Or was it just like, a fluke? Did you get lucky one time? So I think just really learning the skill stacking is the most important thing. Just stacking your skills, stacking your knowledge, stacking just the amount of people around you that know what they're doing. That way you could reach out and just ask questions.
Building a Shopify store is one of the foundational things you have to do every time you dropship, and more importantly, the apps you use. So I'll let Shane talk about exactly what apps he uses and which ones he recommends, as well as why he uses them and the importance of certain apps.
I really like Kaching and Upcart. I think Upcart Slider Cart is super clean, and then Kaching as well is easy for bundles. The tracking and conversions API when they work together. But overall, I think that those two apps are like they make the customer experience super simple, because you want to dumb it down as much as possible. So when you're doing a bundle, buy one, get one, something like that, and you want to make the offer super clear and super easy to check out with, having Kaching is huge because you want to reduce friction as much as possible. So having Kaching, then Upcart, you can kind of edit the cart however you want. Some people use Monster Cart. I personally like Upcart. It just looks cleaner. Those two are like my bread and butter. Like I love those two apps.
One of the main things Shane does is marketing, and he covers exactly why the power of TikTok and Facebook have allowed him to grow his business to phenomenal levels. So I'll let him cover exactly his thoughts on TikTok and Facebook, and if he thinks TikTok will get banned. Short story, I don't think it will, but I'll let Shane cover exactly that and talk a little bit about marketing for you so you could in turn implement some of the things he recommends.
I don't think TikTok's gonna get banned either, personally. I don't see why it would. It makes people in the US way too much money for it to get banned. I don't see, there's so many companies that would probably go out of business if TikTok went down. So I think that it's probably here to stay. As of ad platforms, I like both of them a lot. I think learning TikTok first, very helpful, like in the creative sense, because in most cases, creatives on TikTok that work on TikTok are going to work on Facebook, but it might not be vice versa. So something that works on Facebook might not work on TikTok. 9 times out of 10, anything that works on TikTok, you throw it on Facebook, it's going to be, similar results. I really like both platforms. Facebook has been really great. TikTok has been really great. It's kind of just personal preference at that point. Obviously, at scale, you want to go omni-channel. So you have Facebook, you have TikTok, you maybe have Snapchat. Definitely want Google up. Definitely want email marketing. Definitely want SMS marketing. Just as many touch points that you could have with your customer is going to be, the best case scenario. So, some people might only buy off of email. Some people only might buy off of Facebook. Some people might only buy off of TikTok, and then you just have the middle of the funnel content built out. So maybe they want to see some organic stuff. Maybe you have organic content, really just building trust with anybody who wants to go out and bounce around these platforms. Maybe at the end of the day, after all this research, they finally look you up on Google. You have Google brand search running. They find you on the top spot. They click on your ad, and then they finally buy after like 5, 6, 7 touch points with you. So having as many ad platforms running as possible is definitely best case scenario, but highly recommend TikTok and Facebook. They're both great platforms. I think that if you're good at advertising and you know what works on both platforms, you're going to crush it either way. It doesn't really, people might favor one over the other. I personally like them both. They work great.
Now, last but certainly not least, I asked him, I was like, Shane, what would you do if you were a beginner and you had $1,000 to your name? How would you start dropshipping? And honestly, the answer surprised me a little bit, but not that much, because it is something, if he did it, it would literally replicate his success. So I will let Shane cover exactly what he would do if he was starting from scratch in your shoes. Maybe you've only got $1,000 to your name, exactly what he would do to start dropshipping and succeed fairly quickly.
Probably still go with a mentor. If you're serious about it, you have to be serious about it, because if you're not, then it's just, it's kind of whatever. You're just not going to put any effort into it. But having a good mentor having a good mentor can propel you so far. Like, you don't really realize it until, later down the line, you're getting shit on for the first 6 months, even though you have a mentor. It's like, you still have to do the work. Like, the mentor is like 10%, you're the one putting in all the work. You're the one testing everything. and you're the one seeing what works. So having a mentor just guide you in the right direction. It's almost like having a map. You can get guided in the right direction, but you have to take the steps to get to your destination. So I think having somebody, you know, to take you through it, like, you can honestly can save you so much money over time because you're learning from all the mistakes they've made so you won't make them, and you're just seeing what works and what's working now and what's working for them too. So I think having a mentor is super, super important if you're serious about it. Very, like, it's just worth the money at the end of the day. So having somebody that is going to help you get to where you want to go is, like, can't even put a price point on it. Like, if you knew how much you could make from just, you know, a $10,000 investment, like, if you knew some way down the line, maybe 2-3 years from now, that you were going to make $1 million, start learning the skills to make $1 million a year, but you have to pay $10,000 right now, would you make that decision? It's one of those things where the commitments that you make to yourself, just, you have to stick with them. And that's how you're going to get to where you want to go, because so many people are willing to sacrifice so much, and you have to look at yourself and be like, what am I willing to sacrifice to get to where I want to go? So having been through it already, I think all the sacrifices that I made have been completely just worth it. And I mean, I said this a year and a half ago, or whenever I started, it was just like, I'm going to do this and it's either going to work or I'm going to die trying. Like, it's just like, you have to put that mental, as dumb and like stupid as that sounds, like, you have to put that in your head and be like, this, I'm going to make this work, and just keep the promises that you make to yourself, because that's so important. It's just, you know, I think that's where a lot of confidence comes from, is just being able to hold on to the promises that you made to yourself and stick with them. Because, you know, once you start cheating yourself, it's like, you know, what are you doing at that point?
To sum up this video, we trained Shane on dropshipping, showed him exactly what he needed to do, and he just kept on executing. Sure, the first products he tested, they probably weren't the best, but he stuck with it, stuck to the foundational stuff, and kept learning and skill stacking. And that's why this month alone, he will make $1.2 million in revenue, profiting anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000, which is an unreal amount, especially for someone who just started 2 years ago. So if you enjoyed Shane's story and would like to learn more about how you can also work with us, I will have a link below where you can get more information. And with all of that said, please take action. This stuff is very important. It only took him 2 years, and he's now about to be a millionaire, which is insane. And so, yeah, this was a really cool video. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.